Hello and good morning or afternoon. I am writing
Hello. Mummy,
sorry about that. That was my son gate crashing my video. So I'm just going to guide you through this question verbally and just to kind of help you out, because it is quite a tricky format. And as I said in the Word document, this is a question that normally we would have on our GCSE papers, and I think it's one of the hardest on the GCSE paper. But you're a bright group, and I think we can definitely start addressing some of these GCSE type structures, and it fits in perfectly with what we've been doing in terms of our 1980s project, as it acts as a little conclusion by bringing together everything that you've researched over the last 2 to 3 weeks or so. So the question is, technological advancement was the greatest change during the 1980s. How far do you agree? Your answer might include cultural changes, political changes, and you must use information of your own. Now, you do not need to include cultural changes or political changes. It's up to you. Okay. You can include significant events. That's flexible, and that applies to the exams as well. When you see the bullet points, they're there to help you. But if they don't, actually I don't know anything about these, or I missed that lesson, then you don't need to include those bullet points. However, what you do need to make sure is that you bring in information of your own here. Okay, and as stressed, it is a how far do you agree? So you do need to bring in your own judgment. So you're either going to agree with the statement that technological advancements was the greatest change during the 1980s, or you're going to disagree with it. I've structured it so that I agree, but if you disagree with the statement, then you need to change the format. Okay, so if you disagree, you're going to have disagree being your first paragraph, then agree being your second paragraph, and then disagree being your third paragraph. I'll leave it up to you how you organize your structure, but I'm going to agree with the paragraph here. And just like we've been practicing during the last 3 weeks during your 1980s project, you write in your P paragraph, so your point, evidence, explanation. So how we structure this? So my first paragraph, I'm going to look at mobile phones. So I agree with the statement that technological advancements was the greatest change during the 1980s because of the invention of the mobile phone. So there's my point here. So this is my point. And then, as usual, we need to add in some evidence. So, for example, the mobile phone was invented in 1973, but it wasn't until the 1980s that the mobile phone usage became widespread. Mobile phones were first sold on a mass scale in America in 1981. This was the first generation, or IG. So that's our evidence. So our evidence to say that technology was important, or it was the greatest change because of the mobile phone. And then we need to say why this is significant. So our final section of our paragraph, this was significant because this was when mobile phones became widespread, and now means that mobile phones are used as everyday part of everyday life. Now, I don't mind if you use this model paragraph to help start you off. So if you are agreeing with the statement that technological advancements was the greatest change during the 1980s, then you might want to use this model paragraph here to help you. Remember, this is an agree paragraph. It's not a disagree paragraph. But just make sure you highlight this perhaps in a different color, or you write at the side that this is Mam's model paragraph. But then it's up to you to find a disagree paragraph and an agree or disagree paragraph here So another extra 2 P paragraphs. And then you need to conclude. Now, with all good exam questions of these long type, these 16 markers as they would be on a GCSE paper, you need to make sure that you have a conclusion. So follow the structure. So overall, I agree with the statement because technological advancement was the greatest change during the 1980s. This was because of the invention of the mobile phone and the invention of computers, which are really important to our current way of life. Something along those lines. Okay, and that should be it. Just make sure that you're checking for your spelling and grammar. As I have noticed before in your work, capital letters on the starts of names, places, etc. I hope that helps you. Any problems, email your teacher if you're not my student, or message me on Show My Homework.